The Central Asian Report is a program about the ongoing geopolitical trends and the panorama of the present-day realities in Central Asia.
Politics, economics and culture, events, trends and people. All this on one territory. Hello, you're watching the Central Asian Report in today's program. The ice caps of the Tien Shan Mountains, resources melting before our very eyes. Tajikistan's lemon producers, a sweet business. Tourism in South Kazakhstan, the sector's development along ancient routes.
А прямо сейчас центральноазиатские новости.
And coming right up, headlines from Central Asia. The president of Uzbekistan, Islam Karimov, has approved the new customs code. The adopted document provisions for simplified procedures for the declaration and registration of goods and shortened time periods for issuing permit documents by the customs authorities. In addition, the procedure of crossing the border by transport vehicles for commercial and non-commercial purposes has been significantly improved. Also, cross-border distribution through pipelines and electric transmission lines will entail a different procedure. The new code will come into effect in approximately 3 months. The lower house of Tajikistan's parliament approved the constitutional amendments, which are already being called historical. One of the amendments allows the current president, Emomali Rahmon, to hold the presidential post an unlimited number of times. Another amendment lowers the lower age limit for presidential candidates from 35 to 30 years. In order for the amendments to come into effect, they have to be approved by the upper house of parliament, then endorsed by the constitutional court, and then put to a referendum. Once these amendments are adopted in the upcoming elections of 2020, both Emomali Rahmon and his son Rustem, who at the time will be 33 years of age, will be able to run for the presidential post.
К тому моменту 33-летний сын Рустем. Руководство Туркменистана запретило продажу сигарет на территории.
The administration of Turkmenistan has banned the sale of cigarettes on the territory of the country. For now, there is no official decree, but the country's authorities, more particularly the State Healthcare Service, is conducting raids of cigarette sales points in the country and confiscating tobacco products. Officials even organized a demonstrated public action of burning some thousands of cigarette packs. All these are measures against smoking and a propaganda of a healthy lifestyle, which the country's president is advocating. In addition, the activity of the black market for the sale of cigarettes rapidly increased.
Из-под полы на черном рынке стоимость одной пачки достигает $10–12. The
invaluable resources of Kyrgyzstan are melting right before our eyes. The total area of the Tien Shan ice caps is decreasing each year, and in 100 years it may completely disappear or literally evaporate. Our correspondent in Kyrgyzstan brings us the story on what will this threaten more, the environment or the country's economy. In January of this year, the temperature in Bishkek, the capital city of Kyrgyzstan, rarely dropped below 10 degrees. Such anomalous warm winter, even for the Central Asian region, was a joy for the city's residents, but a source of worry for climate specialists. Global warming, which is sweeping across the planet, for Kyrgyzstan presents a threat of causing an almost complete disappearance of ice caps. In the recent years, the country has already witnessed the disappearance of up to 2,000 smaller ice caps. By 2100, instead of the current 5,000, only 140 of them will remain. Right now, the average temperature is about 1 degree above the levels of the pre-industrial era, the second half of 19th century, and therefore it is impossible to artificially preserve ice caps separately in one given country. The melting of the Tien Shan ice caps is not a local problem, but the consequences of this may turn out to be quite dramatic not only for Kyrgyzstan, but the entire region. For example, the largest river in Central Asia, Sirdarya, commences in the ice caps of the central Tien Shan Mountains. Already by the middle of the century, its runoff may decrease by 30%. This in turn will lead to a decrease in the territory of irrigated lands in the river valley and to grave economic difficulties.
Для нашей страны, например, нас больше всего, наверное, интересует и наш регион, в том числе центральноазиатский. Картина такая.
This is the future scenario for our country. We are most concerned about this, our region, including Central Asia. There is global warming, but precipitation levels will not change. They will remain at the current levels. Of course, this will lead to desertification of our territory, because, as you may understand, when the temperature rises, there is great evaporation, and we're getting a drier climate.
Температура растет, то испарение увеличивается, и мы, в общем-то, получаем более засушливый климат.
According to the national report about the state of environment, mountain ice caps are melting at catastrophically fast rates. In the last 50 years, they have retreated half a kilometer upward, and by 2025, the total area of ice caps in Kyrgyzstan may decrease on average by 30 to 40%. Scientists cannot provide more accurate data. Due to the shortage in financing, wide-scale research in this field has not been conducted for a long time already in the country. Even the last count of large ice caps was conducted here in the 70s, 80s, or almost 30 years ago.
Это все имеет свои последствия, такие как, допустим, сдвиг снеговой линии. Соответственно, сдвиг...
All this has its own consequences, such as the shift in the snow line and subsequently a shift in the altitudinal zonation. We recently surveyed the vulnerable ecosystems and the population of the central high Tien Shan Mountain range, where we came to the conclusion that all this will have an impact on the habitat range of rare species.
Ареале распространения редких видов.
In attempts to lower the risk of global warming, Kyrgyzstan is trying to actively participate in international environmental programs, including the program on introduction of principles of the green economy, use of modern technologies for reducing the weights of heat and electric stations of the country, transition from traditional energy resources to renewable, as well as resource preservation. But for now, these are singular examples.
Нужно очень четко понимать, к чему мы идем, каким образом собираемся это реализовать.
We have to have a very good understanding of where we're heading, how we're going to realize our plans, in which sectors, and whether they are realistic. I think that for now we're expressing interest in the Green Economy Initiative, and it's great that there's political interest in this respect. But within the framework of legislative initiatives, there's been little progress.
Но дальше в рамках законодательных инициатив оно не продвинулось.
In order to slow down the rising global temperature levels, in the next 30 years, humanity will have to decrease its volume of harmful emissions at least by 70%. Unfortunately, the scale of the problem and discrepancies in political and economic interest is so great that de facto no concrete solutions are possible at the moment. In December of last year, during the climate summit in Paris, leaders of almost 200 countries set the goal of preventing a rise in global temperature levels by more than 2 degrees. And in a way, this is already a breakthrough.
A
sweet business. Cultivation of lemons has always been a profitable and in-demand sector in Tajikistan's crop farming sector. But the imposition of anti-Russian sanctions by Europe and Turkey has opened up new prospects of increased exports for the sector. Our correspondent in Dushanbe brings us the story on the lemons that are supplied to all the regions of Tajikistan.
Собственного корреспондента в Душанбе.
The mountains of the Vakhsh Valley glisten with amber gold colors. These are lemons. From 150 to 200 kilograms of this citrus fruit can be collected from one tree. This is the biggest harvest in the south of the country, in Hatlon region. Lemons have been cultivated for a long time here, from the 1930s.
Разработались уникальные агротехники возделывания цитрусовых культур в условиях Таджикистана.
A unique technology of cultivation in the local climate conditions was developed. We also use the trench digging method to grow lemons. During the Soviet time, because of this, Tajikistan was the main supplier of lemons across the former USSR.
Во время Советского Союза они были основными поставщиками лимона в условиях бывшем СССР.
Subhon Karimov is checking up on the citrus plants. This garden is his pride. The lemons grown by this old man feed the entire family. You can see how beautiful these lemons are. Today I will take them to the market. They will be bought up fast. Farmers take their products to the country's markets themselves. The products are also produced by the sellers. That is why the prices are so low, 50 US cents per kilo during the warmer seasons, and in the winter, up to $1 US per kilo. I bring lemons from the Komsangir district, sell them for lower prices. It would be profitable to export abroad because there was a big harvest. The harvest truly was big. The areas for the cultivation of thin-skinned lemons are being expanded every year in Tajikistan. Experimental gardens have even been established on the territory of the Agricultural University. Professors and students are looking for ways to increase the harvest level of crops. We cultivate it primarily in trench conditions and above-ground lemon areas. The total territory of which we cultivate is 350 hectares. Total production volume of lemons, more than 5,000 tons. Farmers who collected a good harvest this year are ready to supply these vitamin-loaded citrus fruits to the neighboring countries. The political crisis in the relationships between Russia and Turkey facilitated the rise in the demand for Tajik lemons on the Russian markets. Representatives from various regions of Russia are eagerly concluding agreements on the supply of citrus fruits, because it is well known that our lemons are different in terms of taste from lemons from other countries. They are sweet and the skin is so thin that many people eat the lemons without peeling or spraying with sugar. In the meantime, the Minister of Agriculture, during the press conference with journalists, announced that not only Russia is planning to increase its imports of Tajik lemons.
Цитрусовых на данный момент экспортируется в Российскую Федерацию, в Кыргызстан.
Citrus fruits are exported to Russia, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. Other countries are also expressing interest in lemons from Tajikistan. Last year we exported 69.4 tons of these lemons, and this year 359.9 tons.
Экспорт, если в прошлом году было 69,4 тонн, в этом году 359,9 тысяч тонн цитрусовых.
According to experts, the country's export potential is great. There are many buyers. That is why in 2016, areas designated for the cultivation of lemons in Tajikistan will be expanded. Subhon is planning on planting another couple dozens of trees. The man is confident that because of their taste, his lemons will satisfy the residents of Central Asian countries. In 2015, Turkestan found itself in the top list of the most popular tourism places in Kazakhstan. But the region's authorities are confident that potentially this city, the establishment date of which goes back to the Middle Ages, can break out into the leading positions of this reputable rating. Our correspondent in Almaty visited the main landmarks of Turkestan and understood what is attracting all the tourists. Details in our next story. These are shards of plates and tea bowls. This is the paint that was used back then. You can see that everything has been preserved. In the South Kazakhstan region, the artifacts of the late period of the Middle Ages can be found literally along every step of the way. Historical monuments are the trademark of this region. Last year, more than 110,000 tourists came to Turkestan to see them. Around 7,000 of these tourists came from abroad.
My name is Florian Radel. I was a postman when I was in France, and now I'm just a traveler. I was in Shymkent, and I was in Turkestan. Turkestan was nice.
Because of the specific climate conditions, the tourism season here goes on almost all year round. The mausoleum of Hoja Ahmed Yasawi attracts the highest number of visitors. Construction in the Middle Ages was done on an impressive scale. 90 hectares of land are occupied by a gigantic, even by today's standards, mausoleum, an underground mosque, and an eastern spa bath. The historical complex was built in the 14th century by the order of Emir Timur. After his death, the construction of the mausoleum was halted, leaving the remnants as a memory. Inside there are 8 premises. The main is Kazandık. This is where the famous Thai Kazan was placed. By the way, it has been returned to its rightful place just recently. Before, for 54 years, it was exhibited in the St. Petersburg Hermitage. Thai Kazan translates as the holy cauldron. It was never used for the preparation of food. It was filled with water, which was sweetened with some sugar. The Quran was read over this water, and then it was given out to pilgrims as holy water. The Thai Kazan was made out of an alloy of 7 metals. People consider Turkestan as a holy place. That is why there are always many pilgrims here. They say that to visit these places 3 times is the same as completing a Hajj to Mecca. You are watching the Central Asian Report. Until next time on Kazakh TV.